Okay, we're back finally live on YouTube to continue our Tales of the Nakshatra Gods. So this is coming from my book, Nakshatra, the Authentic Heart of Vedic Astrology. It's the second half of the book. First half of the book is the translation of Taittiriya Brahmana. So we had gone up to, before I took my break for doing all this compatibility astrology research, we had gone up to Pusha, and we were about to talk about Pusha. So let's start there. So this section is called Paranoia and Passion. So the stories that are in this section are kind of about Indra's paranoia about his power, keeping his power, which is a big deal for Jyeshta Nakshatra, Indra's Nakshatra. Paranoia for about one's power, and also the passion for being powerful. But the first story to talk about here is Indra's guide. Indra, as you hopefully remember, took over as the king of heaven. Wasn't the original king of the gods. But he took over from Varuna, and so he needed some help because he wasn't really a match for Varuna. So he gets lots of help. So let's see what we have written here. It says, with the help... Hang on, I'm a bit thirsty. With the help of Yama. Remember Yama? Yama is the god of discipline and is the force that's active in the Bharani Nakshatra. So with the help of Yama, so Yama is disciplining all the wrongdoers. That's the king's job. But Indra doesn't do it himself. Varuna used to do it, but now that Indra is in control, Yama is the main person for the disciplining. So with the help of Yama and the gifts of Agni and Soma. Soma's gift is the Amrit. Agni's gift is probably the Indragni, which is lightning, and which is the ability to make decisions, things like that. The ability to be confident and quick. Strong leadership. So with the help of Yama and the gifts from Agni and Soma, Indra was almost able to fill Varuna's shoes as the Lord of Heaven. That's funny. Hopefully this... I'm not really so much in the practice of doing the live videos anymore, so hopefully it's going right. I'm not going to get an hour of silent video. But that's pretty funny, isn't it? You get Indra, he's going to take over from Varuna, and he's almost able to be a match for Varuna after he gets gifts from Agni, Soma, and Yama. Now, but still, there's one more being who had to lend Indra essential aid, and that's... Any guesses? You got Yama, Agni, Soma being crucial in aiding Indra, and the fourth one is Brihaspati. So who's Brihaspati? Brihaspati is the sage of the gods. In human society, we have sages and scientists and scholars. Same thing in superhuman societies, divine societies. They have their own sages and scientists and scholars. And the chief of them for the Devas is Brihaspati. Now, the reason why it's called Brihaspati is because Pati means master, and has an implication of being a protector, like a caretaker. Husband, actually, Pati is husband. So it's like the husband of Brihas, or Brihad, which means, now Brihad means bigness, but bigness means growth, just like the planet Jupiter, actually. Brihaspati is the god of, associated with the planet Jupiter as well. Bigness means increase, bigness means positivity, bigness means abundance, success, growth. So bigness, or Brihas, is prosperity, growth, getting bigger. So the master of the sage of the gods is called the master of increase, the master of growth, the Lord of abundance, the Lord of growth. And that's what his nakshatra. See, Brihaspati is the force that's active in the nakshatra of the constellation called Pushya. And Pusha means nourished. Somebody that's been fattened, somebody that's been expanded, somebody that's abundant and growing, healthy and big and thick. That's Pusha. So the Brihaspati is the Lord of Pushya. The master of growing things is the Lord of the constellation, which nourishes. Why is this person the sage of the gods? Because that's what people want to do. And people are people. It doesn't matter if you're an ant or if you're Indra or Indra Gopa. If you're an ant or if you're Indra, you're still a person and you still want the same thing, which is to achieve success in your desires, whatever your desires are. If you're an ant, you want to find some sugar. If you're Indra, you want to rule the universe. But the happiness to both is the same. It's just if they fulfill their desire or not, they feel happy or unhappy. So even the gods, they just want to achieve their desires, and that's why the sage amongst the gods is the one who can tell them how to achieve their desires. That's what a guru is. Another name for Brihaspati is guru. The guru is the one who tells you, has experience. That's what the word guru means. They carry weight because they have experience. It says, go this way, you'll get to the goal. Don't go that way. You won't get to the goal that way. So the sage of the gods is called Brihaspati, the master of success. And the master of success is the ruler of the nakshatra Pusha, the successful nakshatra. This person has to help Indra. Because this person's going to help everybody, all the devas, but really specially dedicates their energy to helping the king of the devas. Okay, so to continue reading here what I got. Wise Brihaspati became Indra's chief advisor and high priest. This is another thing that it's so difficult to just translate words. Like the word priest. Brihaspati is a priest or guru. When I hear the word guru, I think about somebody with a turban and a beard who sits someplace and sometimes gives a statement or gives a class or something. When I hear the word priest, I think of some guy in some kind of vestment that does some kind of irrelevant rituals, and puts bread in people's mouth that doesn't have any yeast in it. They're told these from our modern culture, the concepts of guru and priest are so irrelevant that it makes you wonder if even these words are useful at all for describing the Vedic concepts. So Brihaspati is a priest, but that word is so useless in conveying what Brihaspati is, because we don't understand what a priest does in Vedic world. We know what priests do in our world, nothing basically. But we don't have any idea of the role that they perform in that technology. In the mystical technology, what role does a priest or a guru perform? It's quite different. So you're really selling yourself short if you think, oh, Jupiter, Brihaspati is a priest, guru, boss, finished. That's what I understand about Jupiter, Brihaspati. You don't really understand. See, in the Vedic technology, the technology there was how to do magic, how to do magical rituals, which would change the sub-layer of reality, which would change the mental layer of reality, and by changing the mental layer of reality would change the experience of reality and then change reality itself. So they had a technology of being able to do mystical, what we would call magical things that would change the world. And so, in other words, what a priest was a priest was like your chief advisor. The priest was the guy who could get you what you wanted, who knew what kind of a technique you needed to apply. Technique, what kind of a ritual? Ritual means technique. What kind of a technique or approach you needed to take in order to get what you wanted. That's what Brihaspati does for the gods. That's what Pushya Nakshatra does for the world. It provides awareness of what technique, what to do to get to the objective that you want, to get to your Tishya. Tishya is another name for Pushya. To get to the goal, to get to the objective, to get success, what do you need to do? The Pushya Nakshatra knows what roads lead to what places, what techniques lead to what goals. So Brihaspati, wise Brihaspati, became Indra's chief advisor and high priest, advising him on which mystical rituals to perform for power. Indra is paranoid about his power, and he should be paranoid about his power because he has usurped a king, and he's not totally qualified for that. So he's rightly paranoid about his power. So he's got Brihaspati to advise him. You need to augment your power. You need to do this exercise. You need to do this. You need to read this book. You need, whatever things that we would have in today's world. Well, Brihaspati would actually be saying, you need to do this ritual. You need to do this incantation, etc. And Brihaspati would say, and Brihaspati knew how to do those things. The priest knows how to do the ritual. It's not child's play. Like I can tell you, hey guys, cut your fingernail and boil it, and then mix it with a drop of your blood, and then sprinkle it on somebody's doorstep while you chant such and such mantra, and then that person will become your slave in the next life. Something that type of thing is like a ritual. It's not child's play. It's not that you just clip and boil and mix and put on somebody's doorstep and it works. It doesn't work. It's very, very complex technology, just as complex as our computers are. That's why it doesn't work anymore, because nobody knows how to do them. So Brihaspati, that's another thing about Pushya Nakshatra, is it's good with engineering and details and knowing how things work. So Brihaspati is the one who knows the details of how to carry out a technique or how to carry out a ritual. So what Brihaspati does for Indra, and what Pushya should be doing for humanity, is advises Indra, this is what you need to do to get what you want, and let me show you how to do it. In fact, what a priest does is perform the ritual on behalf of some person called the Yajamana. They do the yajna on behalf of the Yajamana. They do the ritual on behalf of the beneficiary. So Indra is the beneficiary and Brihaspati is the priest. So in the same way, you might have a lawyer is like that. You're the Yajamana, and the lawyer is the Ritvika, the one who does the actual work for you in the court. All right, so Brihaspati, however, has a very interesting quality. And this quality is very also relevant to understanding the planet Jupiter. Brihaspati, I write here in the book, which, just in case you forgot, I'm reading from Nakshatra, The Authentic Heart of Vedic Astrology, which you can get on Amazon.com. It's already available. So this is the second half of the book. So what I say is, however, Brihaspati cannot tolerate giving prosperity to the undeserving. This is the thing about Jupiter, which makes it less somya, or less gentle and benefic than Venus. Venus gives prosperity to the undeserving and the deserving. This is why Venus aids the asuras. But Jupiter only gives prosperity to the deserving. So Jupiter has a little bit of strictness, a little bit maleficness, a little bit of krura to it, harshness. A little bit, and that it doesn't give prosperity to the undeserving. So what you'll see in mythology a lot is that not a lot, but several significant or important stories of where Brihaspati punishes Indra. And they're important stories, so I'll tell you this one here. Brihaspati cannot tolerate giving prosperity to the undeserving and occasionally punishes even Indra for his flaws. The most significant punishment happened when Brihaspati entered Indra's court, but Indra was too absorbed in kingly merrymaking to notice. So this is important, how you respect people, and especially in a civilized society like Vedic society, especially in a very civilized society like the superhuman gods Vedic society. It's very, very important how respect is shown to each other. So Brihaspati, the guy who is helping you with everything, comes in to your living room and you don't even notice. That's a big mistake. So that's what happened one day. Brihaspati came into Indra's court, and Indra was so absorbed in looking at the dancers and listening to the music and drinking soma that he didn't even notice. Okay, so Brihaspati was disgusted. So disgusted with Indra's self-importance, Brihaspati turned and left abruptly. Indra didn't notice, but other people there did. So the matter was immediately brought to Indra's attention because everybody knew this is a big mistake. See, the thing is, when you're in a culture and when your technology is magic, then stuff like this is hugely important, like respect and these kind of things that we call aparad, offenses or insults, because the whole technology is operating on the mental and emotional level. So it's very, very, very important not to screw that up, not to screw up the aparad and the honor, to give honor. So Indra's friends who are in the court realize Indra is going to suffer really bad for this. Let's tell him that this happened. So they immediately brought the matter to Indra's attention, who quickly rose from his throne and went out to search for the high priest. So Indra himself also knows, like, whoa, I made a huge mistake. So he gets up right away and he goes out to look for Brihaspati. But Brihaspati didn't want to be found. He wanted to punish Indra. So Brihaspati makes himself invisible. So Indra could not find him anywhere. So this is going to be the beginning of a long story. And I'm not going to read the whole story today. We'll just have a short little session today. Yeah. So, but I'll just give you one more paragraph. Brihaspati had made himself invisible, so Indra could not find him anywhere. Indra became distraught and morose. Day by day, the fortune and power that had blossomed like a flower, that's also why Pusha is signified as a flower, the blossoming of a flower. Pusha is signified by flower and by breasts and udders, cow's udders, because these are the things that nourish and increase and make people fortunate. And the flower is blossoming. It's the result of a nourishment. It's the success of the plant is to produce the flower. So Indra, under Brihaspati's guidance, was blossoming and being nourished. But when Brihaspati disappears, that flower starts to wither. For without Brihaspati, Indra could not perform the mystical Vedic rituals that were augmenting his power, which he didn't naturally have. So this is the beginning of a really interesting long story that will continue over the next weeks. What's going to happen is the Asuras are going to hear the news on CNN. How old is that? CNN even still exists. They're going to hear the news that Indra is weak, Indra is sick. They're going to attack him. They're going to take over paradise, and then Indra's going to have to try to get it back. So there's going to be a long story about how he gets it back, how he gets a thunderbolt for the first time and uses it. Let's see what else is going to come up in the story. Yeah, we're going to hear about the person that creates these weapons for Indra that allow him to get back the power even though he didn't have Brihaspati. let's see what else it involves the story. Indra's crazy. Indra's getting covered with vaginas because of his sexual lusts, and it's going to be a long story. Even if we're going to have Krishna come into the story at one point. All kinds of stuff going to happen. Very interesting under this topic of Indra's paranoia and passions. All right, so stay tuned. You know, what do they call that? Subscribe to this channel, because we're back on the track again after all that 3 months of research and work is done. I'll start doing more videos again, and we'll get weekly Nakshatra Gods installments. I hope you enjoyed it. Haribol.